bring back our friend Tevi Troy as I'm joined by Morgan Thompson. Lots of questions, very little time, Tevi. We want to get to it right off with what Alan Dershowitz says. Do you agree that a travel ban and quarantine is absolutely constitutionally correct, and do you believe it is a necessity in this situation?
Yeah, I think that the government does have broad powers in case of a public health emergency. I'm not necessarily on board fully with a complete travel ban in this case. I mean, I don't think a travel ban would have stopped the Craig Spencer case, for example. I mean, he had a U.S. passport. I'm for vigorous screening of people at a set number of airports so we know who's coming into the country, and so we have some controls on what's going on. I also think that they should be more robust about self-isolation protocols after somebody comes into the country from one of the affected areas. It looks like while Dr. Spencer was self-monitoring in terms of taking his temperature, he was not doing self-isolation, and he was out in Uber and in a bowling alley and the subway, etc.
So, Tevi, we now have 4 cases in the U.S. There are 3 cases in Germany, one of whom died last night. This is not just a West African crisis. This is becoming a global crisis. Is travel ban just to those affected countries enough? I mean, what about European travel? I mean, how can we stop the spread of this?
Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent question. If you do a travel ban, it's not clear that it stops people from getting into the country like Dr. Spencer. At the same time, the travel bans from some countries have made it harder to get people who want to help into West Africa. So the travel bans often have impact that are unexpected and not necessarily what you want.
Well, we will have to leave it there. Tevi Troy, as always, we appreciate your expertise in public health matters, and on the question of Ebola, we will have you back again, sir. Now, let's turn to the midterm elections. The battle for the Senate dominates the media spotlight, but gubernatorial elections also have implications beyond this year as they set the stage for 2016. Now, our Newsmax election team takes a look at Illinois.
In the world of sports, most fans are loyal to their teams no matter what. In Illinois, history would indicate Democrats are loyal to their politicians. Current Governor Pat Quinn's predecessor, Democrat Rod Blagojevich, managed to get reelected in 2006 despite being linked to numerous scandals at the time, currently serving prison time on corruption charges. And when President Obama's approval ratings were tanking around the country, voters in his home state held out. According to a New York Times YouGov poll, he just recently dipped below 50% there. So the fact that a Republican has a Democrat worried about getting reelected in Illinois paints an interesting political picture. GOP candidate and businessman Bruce Rauner is looking to oust Quinn. Two are neck and neck in the polls, although the most recent surveys put Quinn ahead, but just barely. The New York Daily News reports Illinois' financial troubles are one reason why the race is so close. Quinn didn't quite deliver during his first term to curb the state's fiscal problems. That's why Rauner's campaign is largely focused on improving the state's economic situation. He's also touting a plan for a better education system, both of which are playing well with undecided voters. But Illinois may ultimately be just too blue for Rauner to pull out a victory. In 2010, Quinn's challenger also polled well, but when it came down to it, Democrats went to bat for their candidate.
So if the governor's office were to go Republican in Illinois, it set up a very interesting dynamic in Springfield, the capital city of the land of Lincoln, because you would have a Republican governor with the state house and state senate in all likelihood remaining in the hands of the Democrats. Listen, you can go to Newsmax now, Newsmax.com as we continue our countdown to the midterms. Be sure to join us election night here on Newsmax TV for special coverage of the midterms You Decide 2014.